Good morning, Curt Gemme with Sentry Commercial. I'm here with Mark Duclos, president of Sentry Commercial and the SIOR organization internationally. And Mark joins us in Hartford today, and we're here to talk a little bit about what's going on with the market. We were with Mark probably 4 months ago on our launch of the New Norm series. And so we from time to time have people back. So we welcome Mark Duclos back.
Thank you, sir. Great to be back.
You're welcome. So listen, last time we were here, we were talking about, the way things were going to look, moving forward. And we really didn't have a lot of questions and answers to the questions. And I think now, that we're, 6 months plus into this, tell us, what is the market doing? What are you seeing? What's happening?
Yeah, well, so I get a look at both the national and the local markets. And I think generally they're probably both doing the same. I think when you look at the office side of things, there's still a lot of questions to be answered. And I think there were 6 months ago. I think we probably have more questions answered right now, but they might not be anything you can do anything with. So there used to be a news cycle, for instance, that it was like every week or every day. And now at least it's stretched to every month and every couple months. So at least now, I think on the office side, brokers can start giving advice to their clients on what they're seeing and what maybe certain things can be done to either mitigate their difficult situations or to take advantage of opportunity. Unfortunately, on the office side, probably is more to mitigate than it is for opportunity, right? So we've got a lot of people a lot of companies in the office side of things that are either treading water, right? They're not making any kind of moves. They're either or they're downsizing. You don't have a lot of companies that are upsizing, albeit there are some. So, and I think that's reflective in the local market. You've got companies that are downsizing in the local market. You've got most companies are just kind of treading water and making decisions, and as they say, kicking the can down the road. And very few companies expanding. On the industrial side, it's a very different thing, right? On the industrial side, it's what I would call a bifurcated market, and I think that's also true here and in throughout the United States. So you've got the overall feeling is that the industrial world is doing great, and just things are booming. And on one end, that's true. On another end, you also have industry-specific things that challenge local markets. So on the big picture side, when you start talking about e-commerce and logistics, absolutely booming. I think I was quoted in one other presentation like this, where the brokers are dancing in the street, right? So they're having a great go of it, right? Just huge deals happening. I mean, Curt, deals that I remember getting in this business 34 years ago and thinking of 1 million, 2 million square foot lease was just unheard of. They're happening regularly. But then you also have the other side of the market, which is the local side of the market that is dictated by industries as well. And so in our market, you still have the aerospace and the hospitality and those type of markets, gas and oil markets that are challenged. And I think those companies locally are challenged. And while we haven't seen the effect of that challenge other than an employment standpoint, here, I think we are going to start seeing that in the near future.
Interesting. What is your, I know they talk about the Omni Channel. Give us a couple minutes on your perspective as to what exactly that means to our market here locally and certainly internationally.
Well, listen, so the Omni Channel is all the different ways that you can channel retail, right? And so you've got the bricks and mortar and you've got the online are the two easiest. I think the ones that you start looking at that people mostly dial into will be the bricks and mortar, especially as it relates to mall space and just physical retail space. And then of course you've got the online channels that are being, that you've got as it relates to just as we know through the Amazons of the world, right? Affects us entirely, right? So take the malls, right? So everybody's like, what is the future of the malls? Well, the future of the malls is going to be, we've got the healthy malls, right? We've got malls that are actually doing really well. And then we've got other malls, and I'll just point out to one, the Enfield Mall. Everybody's like, what is going to go on with it? Well, when you start talking about companies like Simon Properties and those that are reaching out to e-commerce firms and they're starting to say, hey, listen, can we create partnerships? Can we lease your space? Can whatever it might be to do large lease transactions or purchase transactions with these e-commerce companies? Well, what are those e-commerce companies trying to use that space for? People will automatically say, well, they're going to use it for distribution of product. You go, well, maybe, I don't know. Or are they going to combine it with bricks and mortar type of product? So Enfield Mall, if you go cut a deal with Amazon, Are you going to use that for distribution, or are you actually going to start using it for some types of bricks and mortar? We don't know what that looks like right now. I mean, what we do know is that companies like the Amazons of the world, and we talk about Amazon all the time, but there's others, are using both bricks and mortar space and the retail side, as well as classic distribution space for their supply chain and to get the product to the end user.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a wait and see. I understand Amazon leased the Boston auditorium there for the holidays to do a distribution. Obviously, the auditorium is not getting used, or the convention center is not getting used like it was. So they saw that as a good short-term play, which is interesting.
No question. I think it's 2.6 million square feet. Certainly least short term, but yeah, I mean it's now that of course is for their logistics. That's a short term deal. But if they came in and they bought them all, then you'd say, okay, well, what are you doing with that?
Yeah. Interesting. Listen, let's fast forward ahead and let's take a look at Hartford. So, back 6 months ago, we knew we had a lease coming up for Sentry Commercial, and now we found ourselves in a pandemic. Everybody's going to work at home. What are we doing? So we obviously pivoted in our virtual environment that I'll call it the hybrid, which you've done a successful job in creating. But fast forward ahead, we're coming into fall. Hartford is starting to see some signs of uptick. It's slow, but we just made a recent commitment for our Hartford. Tell us about that.
Yeah, my guess is we are probably a poster child for the smaller firms on what they're dealing with, right? So we've always been able to work virtually. And as you know, a lot of us are working virtually, right? So some of us most of us are operating out of our office, out of our home office, albeit we're using that as our home base to go out and meet people, because we're starting to do a lot more often. Very seldom is the office, meaning the Hartford office, being used. That said, I think moving forward, you're still going to have physical meetings in your office space. They're going to be different. They're going to be a little bit more experiential. You're going to have to come into the office for a reason, not just to do your work, because you can do your work right from your house, but to create culture, to create events, to do things that are experiences. We are in about 2,500 square feet right now at 190 Trumbull Street, and we've been here for 5 years, and I thought this space was working out great. But we've gone the route of expanding our offices, mostly, and we're now moving to 160 Trumbull Street. That's going to happen in the next 30 days. We made the decision to go into about 4,500 square feet. And the reason why we did that is because, A, we think the experiential side of people coming to the office will create more people are going to be in that office for those particular experiences. B, we're going to need more elbow room in order to be able to accommodate those people, right? Because we got new social distancing standards, and I do think those are going to survive. So it survived the COVID crisis. I think people are going to be much more aware of that for a long, long time. So we made the decision to not only commit to office space downtown, we made the decision to commit to more office space downtown and substantially change the way our office operates. We were going to have, like I said, our office is going to be very much a real estate center. And it's going to be the ability where people can come down and collaborate, and they're going to be able to think tank. They're going to be able to see be in events that might happen here, as well as accommodate Sentry Commercial's brokerage and construction management and property management operations.
That's awesome. I know people are looking forward to getting back downtown. It's been a little bit of a crawl, and but the community is starting to come back. I know at Upward Hartford, they brought a new group of cohorts in, startup companies. I think there's 12 of them on the property tech and on the healthcare side, and they just opened up, and those folks are staying now at Upward Living, which is right next to our building at 190 Trumbull. So we've got new faces in town, and it's a vibe that was really, really kicking before COVID obviously set in. So I think as we move into the beginning of 2021, these programs are continuing. And people are wanting to see that life come back. So we're certainly excited. I'm excited about the commitment to 160 Trumbull. The space is going to be amazing. Sort of warehouse, brick exposed, wood, and I think it's all about creating that culture. And I think in all of the New Norm series that I've done, whether it be with the appraisal firm, law firms, they all talk about virtual is great, but we're missing the culture and the vibe. And so, we were never meant to be in containment for, long periods of time as human beings. And so, you need a community to be able to do that. And I think, the commitment to Hartford, which is great, allows us to continue that. How long has Sentry been in Hartford? 30, 35 years?
Oh, yeah, probably 25, 30 of our 30-year existence. Absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny. So first, people coming downtown, I always use the not always, but one of the indicators is the parking lot indicator, right? So I park on Lewis Street, and I always say, well, if nobody's downtown, then why am I parking on the 5th floor at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So there's somebody's taking my parking spot. So I still saw that. It literally happened this morning. I'm sitting in our office in Trumbull Street, as you are. And, and again, as it relates to the office itself, yeah, you need culture. We went away from the office about 10, 11 years ago, and we tried the no office route because we are virtual. Well, guess what? It was a disaster, right? It was a cultural disaster. Nobody knew anybody. You just didn't have a vibe. You didn't have a feel. And that's why we're going about what we're doing at 160 Trumbull. We need an office. We need people to come back. And we also need people to come back to a different environment, maybe more of a deep breath environment, more of a thinking environment, not as much as a corporate, to-do list kind of environment. It's more going into the office to take a breath, meet people, be collaborative, and re-energize, and then go back out and do what you're doing. And I really look forward to that happening. As you know, we're taking small steps of building out that space because we're not sure exactly what that looks like as we move out, but we know it's going to be space. And I'm really looking for everybody to come back and go, all right.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And what I like about the increase in size of the space is it's going to allow us as a company to do more community, sort of based things, do more collaboration with businesses and industry, and be part of that community, which I think that space allows us to do. And so it's going to be a great move. So listen, I know you got to run to a meeting, and we're about at 12 minutes here. I appreciate your time today. Look forward to it. As always, and let's keep going.
Great way to catch back up, and a great update. And everyone, as I always say, keep smiling. Thanks, Curt.
Thanks, Mark.
You're good. Bye-bye.
Bye.